Line 3. Okay. Can you hear me now? Okay. I think so. I think you can hear me now. Is it okay? Okay. Thank you for the message, or for the advice, or I don't know, for the help. But yeah, I just started the stream, and I already noticed a couple things are broken, but it is what it is. It's always the same thing here. So as you can see, the stream elements message in the chat is still bugged there. It's like a little bit like overlapped with your first message, Ciala. I don't know if you can notice that, but that's something I tried to fix a couple days ago, and in the previous stream I fixed that, so chat started working normally again, because this is what happened. This bug has been in the overlay for like, I don't know, a couple weeks now. Yeah, it's broken. So this bug has been there, like has been happening for I don't know how many weeks now. And I think it was on Sunday, or maybe Monday. It was my last stream. My previous stream was on Monday, so that same day before the stream, I tried to fix it, and I ended up breaking the chat. I also added a new alert for raids, because we didn't have any alerts for raids basically. So yeah, now if we receive a raid, we should see the alert the same way we see when we get a follow or a subscriber or anything. So basically, when I started that stream, I realized that the chat was completely broken. So there was no messages going through the overlay chat, so down here. So I opened up the project and fixed it, and blah blah blah, and I fixed that in the same stream on Monday. But it seems like, I don't know, the stream element message is going through, because all I did was basically just ignore that message so that it doesn't go live. It doesn't appear at all. So when the overlay system, the chat system, detects the stream element message that says France747 is now live, I basically just ignore it and don't put it down here in the chat. But it seems like it's not working, so it's still going through. So I don't know. I will try to fix that at some point. I don't know, I could try it now, but the thing is, it's just that message, because from then on, all of the messages like are perfectly fine. I don't know what's happening. It's just that one message. And it's not because of the transition or anything like that, because I also tried doing, for example, I will go to this. So I transition to the start screen. So if I send some message now, for example, I send test, okay? Now, if I go back to the main scene, you will see that that message is perfect. So you can see there, okay, down here, the test message is perfectly aligned, and the height is all good, and it's not overlapped with any other message. So I don't know what's happening with that message, with the stream element message. So yeah, I don't know. I will have to keep trying and stuff until it's fixed. It's really annoying, but yeah, it is what it is. So anyways, doesn't matter. We are here for a new Voyager stream, okay? New Voyager dev journey stream. And yeah, so multiple line messages with more message text and one more group of words and one more. Yeah, I don't think that's the case, because you can already see that your own message has multiple lines and multiple words and whatever, and it's, yeah, it's only the Streamlabs Stream Elements message. I don't know. It's really weird. I also tried like closing the overlay. So let's really quickly try that. I'm going to close the overlay thing. So, okay, it's closed now, okay? You should hear me anyways. So I'm going to open it up again, okay? You can see it in the screen, it's opening up, okay? Now you can see I'm actually here in the empty scene, okay? I'm going to send like a really long message. I'm going to copy and paste test like a bunch of times, okay? Now I send like a really long message. Let's see what happens if I go to the main scene now. Yeah, it's perfectly fine. So if I send a message after that, oh, maybe it's not that fine. Ah, okay. Okay. Yeah, it seems like maybe if the first message is, yeah. So, well, we found the issue basically. So it seems like the first message that contains multiple lines, yeah, but see, after that, it's okay. You can see now, if I send test 2, it's perfectly spaced out. But the first message I sent is multiple line, it has a lot of words, and it has like multiple lines, and the message after that is always going to be overlapped. So it's not properly spaced. It's not using CSS. No. It's a custom system I made in Unity. So it's like a Unity project, like a game, but it's not a game. It's just an application that I have here. You can see here. You cannot see my taskbar on my Windows bar below, but you can see like I'm highlighting the icon. So it's basically this. It's an application, and I'm capturing that with OBS. So since it's a Unity thing, I programmed the chat system myself. So yeah, it seems like the really long messages, the first message in the stream, like in the chat ever. So when I start the stream, the first chat gets bugged if it has multiple lines. That's basically what's happening. So I have to go here, and I'm just going to write that here so I can fix it after. First chat message gets bugged if it's multiple lined. I don't know. If it has multiple lines, okay? So yeah, the complete, all of the overlay and stuff, I made everything here in Figma. So you can see the design and everything, I made it here. And then I just exported everything and made everything in Unity. So I have like a little ideas list and a little to-do list here. So I have a couple things I want to add, but I don't really have a lot of time to work on the overlay, honestly. I spent like weeks working on it. And yeah, so now if like it's like I have here and there like a couple hours to work on it from week to week. I don't know, even maybe even every 2-3 weeks I have like 1 or 2 hours. So maybe at some point I will just open up the project and see if I can try something different to fix it, and that's it. But yeah, Anyways, we will be fixing that at some point, but I will probably do it off stream because the time I have for the stream, I want to use it entirely for working in Voyager, on Voyager. So yeah. Anyways, that's why we are here, to work on Voyager, okay? And that's what we're going to do. So let's jump straight into Voyager dev, okay? So we have a couple things here, okay? So I wrote these tasks, okay? So we have, well, first of all, let's just see what we have been doing for the past couple days and weeks. Okay, so we have, okay, this is really interesting. Okay, what the hell? Oh, okay. I was scared for a moment because, as you can see here, the indicator, this thing is like really big, and it's on top of the planet icon. So I was like, there's no planet on this orbit, but it is a planet. There is a planet. So if I moved and then it appeared there because it's the smallest planet. So I was thinking about like this little arrow that's pointing to the position you're in. I was thinking about making it fade in and then out and then in and then out. Maybe I will do that at some point, but for now, I was trying to show what we have for now. So we have a couple planets spawning, okay? Every time we hit play, every time we enter the game, we have a new star that gets generated, okay? Then that star is going to generate between 1 and 4 planets, and those planets are going to be placed at one of the 4 orbits around the star, okay? And we have different sizes for the planets. That's really cool. So this one is a really small planet, and then we can go to this other planet, and we're going to see that this one is a lot bigger. Okay, so here's this other planet. Okay, so we have a different sizes for planets. Okay, and we have the isometric navigation, like the basic part of it is working pretty nicely. So yeah, so we have a couple things already working here. So that's great. Okay, that's what we have. Now there's from here there's a lot of things we could do. So for example, I could work on the actual background for the space scene. So what you see here, like this space background that we have, like this shape and all of those like nebula things, and so this is like a really old background I did, and it's not bad, but it's not final also. Then we have like all of the stars here, and you can see there's a lot of red stars, but those are placeholders for objects that are going to be in closer layers to the starship. Okay, so I will be it will be easier to explain if I hit play here. For example, you can see when I move, there's like 3 layers of red stars that move really quickly. So you can see they are really close, and of course those are not stars. The idea is that those are maybe like asteroids, or maybe little space rocks that are floating there, and you know, space debris basically. And the idea for those layers that are closer to the starship is that you have a sense of speed, okay? Because look what happens if I remove those closer layers and I just leave the farthest layer, okay, which is the one that contains the actual star and all of the other stars and the space background and the nebula and the blah blah blah, okay? So you can see that that layer is barely moving, so it's really slow. That's because it's really far away. That's the idea, okay? That's what the impression I want to give with this. So the closer planes of background, so those red stars, you know, it's giving this 3D look, okay? So that there's like several planes of background that are moving at different rates, and this is basically a parallax effect, and it's just to give this impression that there are, you know, multiple layers of background. And also it's useful to inform the speed that the starship is actually moving at, okay? So you can see that this normal speed is not slow, like it's normal speed, okay? This is the regular thruster of the starship, okay? And you can see, like, in relation of the planet's position, it's really slow. So if I were to, let's say I want to go to this planet, okay, this one here, I have to go to the right because my position is here, right? So look how slow I'm moving here in the actual map. But then if I go into hyperspeed, I hold a button and then I go into hyperspeed, you can see I moved a lot faster, okay? So the idea is that we have two speeds. We have the normal speed, which is for moving here and just for exploring the closer areas and for combat and for interactions and stuff like that. And then we have the hyperspeed, which is for going to really far locations. So for example, to go to other planets. And everything is in the same space. That's what's cool about this mechanic, is that everything is in the same space. So it gives the impression that we are traveling like a lot of space with the starship, and it gives the sense of freedom that we can navigate freely, okay, within this space, and we can go to this planet, and then, oh no, I want to go to this planet now. So then you activate the hyperspeed and go to that planet, and now you're here, okay, and you can land on this planet. That's the whole point, okay? And for example, here it looks like I'm moving slower, but that's because one of the layers, the parallax layer, the closer layer, is now not on screen anymore because we moved so fast, and that's the actual layer is here. It's just a big square that contains a lot of transparent stars. Now I grabbed that big sprite containing all of the stars and I moved it closer to the starship, so now you can see we have that layer again. So anyways, I basically derailed a lot explaining this, but but the idea is that I wanted to explain that, for example, that's one of the things we could work on, okay, next. So I'm trying to talk about what's next. So this is one of the things I could work basically on the space background, okay, drawing the actual space background, and I have like a lot of ideas of what I want to do, and for all of these red stars I want to draw some different variations of star, like asteroids and stuff like that. Did you say pew pew? I don't think so. I don't understand the joke. I don't know if that was a joke or not, but yeah. So yeah, I could do, that's one of the things we could do. So I'm going to basically just add that as a task. Okay, so let's go here and I'm going to write that. Okay, so this is going to be draw new space vacuum backgrounds. Then that's one task. Then another task is draw space like asteroid debris. How do you, is it like this, debris? I'm not sure. Lasers. Pew pew is the sound of lasers. Oh, you're right. I was too slow on that one. Debris. You're right. So draw asteroid, debris, etc. For closer planes system with like an eye. Space station, space yards. Yeah, that's a different thing though, because space stations are like those. For example, space vacuum backgrounds are like the background, like the black thing you see at the very background. Okay, then we have like this actual stars and stuff, but the thing I'm describing in this task is specifically for the closer layer. This is just decoration things, okay? And those are things that are going to appear and there, and you cannot interact with them. Those are just things that appear in the closer layer to the starship. So yeah. Okay, for decoration in closer background planes in planetary system. Okay, that's another thing. Then I thought we were going to destroy asteroids. Yeah, we are going to destroy asteroids, but that's another plane. So yeah, just to explain this a little better, let me just do a drawing. So where is this planetary system? Here. So basically imagine this, okay? This is a plane, okay? This is a plane. And the starship is here. Okay? Imagine you're seeing this from here, okay? The camera is seeing this from this plane. Okay? This is how we are seeing this. And actually what's happening is we have different planes, okay? We have one there, and another one there, and another one there. And each plane has a different thing. So for example, this plane, this first plane, is for stuff that's on the middle ground, okay? So in the same plane as the ship. Then this plane is for decoration. And basically all of the other planes are for decoration. But not all of them actually, because for example, this plane is for planets. Yeah, my writing with the mouse is really bad, but anyways. And this one is for background, okay? So, well, all of these are for background, sorry. So all of these planes are for background. So this is for space, okay? So here basically we have the actual space background, okay? So the nebulas and all of those things we see, okay? Then here in this plane we have the actual planets, okay? We have the planets here, the other planet there. This other plane should be for the actual space rocks, okay? Like this. And I'm drawing this as if they were opaque, but they are not opaque, they are transparent. So the reality is you can see through all of them, okay? But just for explaining this, it's easier to do this. So basically the camera looks through all of the layers, but they are like, they have different purposes. So the first layer that's below, so this is layer 1, this is layer 2, this is 3, this is 4, okay? That's not actually how it works in the game, in the project, but I'm trying to explain this in an easier way. So layer 1 is for starship and for also enemy starships, okay? So that you can fight, okay? And you can shoot other starships, okay? So they are going to be drawn in the same plane. Then we have the other layer, which is layer number 2, which is behind, and that layer is for drawing some rocks and things that are built behind the starship, okay? In the layer behind that. Then we have layer number 3, which is the layer where planets are. And that layer, it's supposed to be really far away, like in the background. Okay, that's why we see the planets, okay? This planet is really, really far away in the background. It looks like I'm inside the planet now, but in reality, we are seeing this as if the starship is here and the planet, like if the camera is here pointing down, we see the starship first, and maybe the planet is like down here, for example. Okay, so the planet is really, really, really far away. Okay, I can zoom out. Okay, so you can see the planet is really far away from the actual starship. That's the impression I want to give. I hope I'm giving the right impression with this. This is like isometric view, but with different background planes of distance. Okay, so all of those red stars, they belong to the layer number 2, which is for decoration, like decoration things that are behind the starship. Then we can also have like a -1 or like a 0 layer, whatever numbering you want to use. But we can also have like another layer on top of the starship that's for maybe bigger rocks and stuff that's on top of the starship, okay? So imagine you have the starship here, okay, or maybe here, and you like in the camera you can see stuff going in front of the starship, so that gives like a more 3D look, okay? The red particles seems more closer than the planet. Yeah, exactly, so that's the idea. They are closer because they are like things that are close to the starship, so you can have a sense of speed, okay? So yeah, that's the idea. That's another thing we can work on, which is this, okay? So this task is draw asteroids, rocks, space debris for decoration in closer background planes in planetary system, okay? Draw new space vacuum backgrounds that for the farthest layer, okay? So those are a couple of tasks we can do. That's another thing, but now the other thing I'm going to work on is this. So implement info UI for or showing the name of the planet that you're orbiting closer, and also show the input to land. Okay, so what's this? This is the thing, this is the real thing I want to work on next. So I'm just going to move this task. Okay, that's not what I wanted to do. Okay, I can move this here. That's really cool. Okay, so what's the idea with this? I have a couple things noted here. So planetary system scene, clean up star planet property classes where possible. So that's something I want to do at some point. It's not now though, so I'm just going to add a new task for that. Okay. So now we have this, and you know what, I could even add this as a new subtask there, and I could just remove this. So this is what I'm going to do next, okay, which is add a trigger to planets in the scene so that we know when we're in orbit. Okay, so what am I talking about here? So you see here I'm really close to a planet, okay, and I showed this in the previous stream, but I'm going to explain this again. So my idea is this: when you're like, let's say this close to a planet, this planet should have a new, like a trigger, okay? This planet should have a trigger. Okay, let me just remove this. I can't. Okay. So this planet should have a trigger. A trigger is going to be like, it can be whatever. It can be like a box. It can be a circle. Whatever. I think a circle is going to be the cheapest thing, and I think it's going to be the better thing to use here. So basically the planets are going to have circles like this. Okay, imagine, pretend this is a perfect circle, okay? So basically planets are going to have this circle, which is an area that it's a trigger that when the starship goes inside that area, okay, so the starship, for example, now it's outside, but when you go inside that trigger, that area, we are going to see down here the planet name, okay, here. So the planet name is going to appear here once we enter the area, and we're going to see the planet, and also we're going to see the input, okay, which is going to be something like the down arrow, and it's going to say land. Okay, this is ugly, it's awful, but whatever. So basically this UI thing is going to appear once we enter this area of any planet, and then we can press this, and I think I have the system ready to, well, I already implemented this, but basically you have to press to hold this button down, okay, and it's going to load until it gets the full circle. You know the typical thing that does the circle like this, well, while you're holding the button. So you start holding the button, and then the thing is like a circle that starts filling in, and after it's completely filled, then the action happens. So whenever you're inside this area, you're going to see this UI, and then you hold the button down, and then the landing sequence starts, okay? So that's the idea. And The actual landing sequence, I'm imagining that I'm going to do something like, for example, making the starship like go there, or I don't know. I want to do some kind of animation for that. Not sure what I'm going to do, but for now I can just make the screen like fade to black, and that's it. Rings. Yeah. So yeah, basically that's the idea. So there we have already our next task, okay? But you know, I say yes to everything. Well, sometimes that's good, sometimes it's not good. You know, it depends. So yeah, this is our next task, okay? Our next objective. So add trigger to planets in the scene so that we know when we're in orbit, and then implement info UI for showing the name of the planet that you're orbiting, and also show the input to land. Then start landing sequence once we press the input to land. Then finally transition to planet scene. Okay, so with this is basically what we need to just finish the basic part of the planetary system scene, like the core part, because after this we can already start working in the actual planet scene, so that we have the complete loop working. Well, it's not going to be the complete loop. We are going to have like a basic loop that we can go to a new constellation. After we get to the new constellation, we enter the star, and after we're in the star, we can go to a planet and then land to the planet, and then we go to the planet scene, and then that's it. We are in the planet. Now, of course, after that we need to there's a couple things we need to complete after that, because right now we don't have a way to go in or going to another star. So from here there's no way for me to go to another star, for example, and I should be able to, and we were discussing something, an idea for that, and yeah, that's one of the things we need to implement, the actual traveling to other stars. And also we need to do it, we need to implement the system for going, like when you're in a planet, on a planet, I don't know, in a planet, when you're there, you should also be able to go back to space, okay? So those are the main things we need to be able to move between the different spaces, okay? So that's my plan. This is my plan since I've started with this, okay? I think pretty much since I've started streaming this year and working on the game, not full time, but like more seriously and all that. Because the first thing I did was just this flowchart, which actually describes the core gameplay loop, as you can see here. So the core gameplay loop, I explained it in the previous stream, but basically when you start a new game, you first of all wake up in a strange planet, okay? You're already in a planet. And that means that you're already inside a star, and that star is inside a constellation. So is this app Miro? No, this is Figma. It's the same app I use for all of the other things, I'm doing everything in the same app. So yeah, it has like it's called Big Jam, and you can do like diagrams, and you can also draw here. Yeah, it's pretty good. So basically, when you start a new game, a new universe is created, and then a new constellation is created. That constellation contains a group of stars. Each star contains a group of planets, and you're going to be inside one of those planets, okay? It's completely random, whatever. It depends on the seed. It's going to be random every time, unless you use the same seed, of course. But in every game, if you start a new save game or a new universe or whatever name I give it, you're going to start in a random planet, and that means that you're going to be inside a star that's at the same time is inside a constellation. So from there, you basically will explore the planet until you get your ship. Okay. Yeah, and I think this should be inside this, but whatever. So while you're inside, like on a planet, you will explore, then you will destroy enemies, then you will restore planet's freedom, and then you will refuel your starship. So that's the main loop you're going to be doing in planets. And from here, like I said in the previous stream, you can branch out after you, like when you have fuel in your starship, you can either do one of these three things, okay? Like I'm talking generally because you can do a lot of things, but generally the idea is that you can go to the next planet in the current star, okay? Or you can go to the next star in the current constellation, or you can go to the next constellation, okay? So those are the possibilities you have. And since I started working on this year, since I started streaming, if you go back to my first stream and watch all of the streams, you can see that I'm working towards having a core loop functional, okay? So everything, it's in a really prototypey phase, okay? State, I would say. So yeah, for example, this scene, this is like pretty much everything is a placeholder. Like nothing you see here is final. Like even this, well, maybe this panel could be in a final version. It's pretty good, like it's not bad, but I might end up changing it or updating it. But anything else you see, like the actual starship, you can see it's like a diamond. Like it's not an actual starship, it's like a 3D shape, and it's not even 3D, it's like hand drawn by me. Then you can see, well, maybe the actual star sprite is not bad, for example, but the background, I mean, I'm going to create new ones because it's, I don't know, it's not bad, but so pretty much 80% of what you see here is going to be changed. Now the actual planet sprites, those are pretty good, so those can be the same, but there's a lot of things that are missing here. But what I'm working, like what I'm doing, what I have been doing, is just basically work on the functional part of this. Do we plan a shader for the star? Yeah, maybe. Why not? That could be really cool. Actually, you know what? I actually think that we could also, for example, do some kind of shading here so that we see like some light, what's it called? Light shafts? I think it's called light shafts or light flares. I don't know. But you know, the typical effect when you see like the planet obscuring the actual star and you can see some light leaking through the shape I don't know. I think you get the idea, but yeah, we are going to do a lot of things, and this is going to look a lot better. And there's a lot of things that I want to add to this scene. So I have to implement the enemy starship so you have combat. I have to implement the actual weapons of the starship. You cannot shoot anything right now. Okay, you can only move and use the hyperspeed. There's no space stations, there's no asteroids that you can destroy, there's no fuel system either. You can navigate freely, like eternally. There's nothing there. But like I said before, what I'm doing here is just working on the most basic things so that everything, like so that the most core part is functional. So right now, the core part of this would be to go here and be able to land on this planet, and then I press a button and I land on the planet. The scene makes a transition to the planet scene, and then I am on a planet and I can play there. So imagine this: I press the button here to land, the landing sequence starts, and maybe I just fade the screen to black. Okay, imagine the screen just faded to black, and then we suddenly are here, okay, in the planet, and we can play here and we can jump and explore the planet and blah blah blah. So that's the key part that we are missing right now, and that's the next step. Basically, that's what I'm trying to say. So so that's good. That means we're really close to having the core functional core gameplay loop. Okay, so we're going from this section to this other section and there, and so that the main objective here is that I don't want to actually spend a lot of time working on something. Okay, so let's say I stick to this scene and I start working here like crazy, and I make like a dozen new different procedural backgrounds for the space, and I create like, I don't know, 10 different stars sprites. I draw like a lot of sprites for the stars, and I draw a lot of variations for asteroids and stuff, and I create the system so that you can shoot them and destroy them. I could do all that, and I create enemy starships so that you can have combat, everything. I could totally work on that, but the thing is, I don't want to invest all of that time on that, because I first want to be able to move between the sections of the game. Okay, so I'm in space, I'm in the planet, I can go to a new planet, I can go to a new star. Okay, because that's one of the core mechanics of the game, that you can explore like infinite amounts of stars and planets. Okay, and I need to validate that feels fun to do, because that's the main thing of the game. Okay, so instead of actually, what's the word? I don't know what's the word I'm looking for, but it's not wasting, because it's, well, it can be a waste of time. So imagine I say, okay, I'm going to work a lot of this until this scene and this section, like the space section of the game, is completely finished. Okay, so I implement all of the backgrounds, all of the new star sprites, all of the shader for the stars and for this star. I draw all of the actual final design of the starship. I draw all of the variation for enemy starships. I draw all of the variations for this asteroid rocks. I implement and code all of the systems for all of those things to work. So I don't know, I program the AI for the enemies for them to get close to me and attack my starship and to escape and then move around. let's say I work on the full space gameplay, but then I realize that something is not good, for example, and it's not fun to play here, then that's a big waste of time. And it's not that I have like a deadline or something like that. I don't really have a deadline because I'm just working on this in the free time I have, and I'm not working like on this because I have to, I don't know. I'm not working for anybody, I'm working for me. This is my game and I'm going to create this, and I don't know. But yeah, I don't want to be like working on something before I validate the stuff around it. So yeah. So yeah, that was a really long explanation. Anyways, let me drink a little bit of water because I'm not fully recovered from my thing that I had this week. So yeah, my throat is not feeling completely healed. But yeah. So I think this is the thing we have to do. Okay, we have to finish creating and implementing the things we need in order to be able to get close to a planet, and then press an input and then land on that planet. Okay, that's everything we need. But for that, I don't want to just hard code everything because there's an easy way to do that. I can just go and add like a trigger and then say here on trigger enter, just change the scene. So that's not good. I want to, of course, create systems that are as modular as possible. Okay. So for example, if I go to the actual planet object, okay, this is a prefab. So this is what I'm thinking, okay? In this prefab, I have to create a trigger, okay, which can be just a different object, and I can go here and say circle collider 2D, okay? I just set it to the center, and I can adjust the radius here, and then we have it. And I mark this as true, and then we have a trigger, okay? That's completely easy, but I don't want to make it like that loosely. I basically want to create a system behind this, okay? So that, for example, I'm thinking about creating like a class called area, for example, so that I can use that same area object for other purposes. That's the whole idea, okay? So that I don't create and spend time on this, so that it only works for planets and that's it. The idea is that I create a system that, for example, it's going to be a class called area, and that area is going to detect what enters and exits the area, of course, and it's going to throw events and say, okay, something entered the area, so that then I can, from another script, say, okay, let's see, okay, this area is saying that something entered the area. Is it the player? Yeah, okay. And is this a planet? Yeah, okay. And then we should do this, okay? And the thing that we're going to do is show the planet name in the UI and also show the input for landing, okay? And yeah, so that's another system that I should create, okay? So the actual thing that displays the name of the planet down there, okay? And basically the input. So I have to I have to create a system that says, okay, if we press this input and hold it, then we are trying to land to that planet, and then that's basically the thing I have to create. Okay, so I want to be I want to try to create this system starting from a very like abstract state. So I think I should create, like, I don't know, something where I keep, like, note everything. So yeah. So there's a couple things I could do. I could just create a new board, okay, a new sketchboard like this one, but for the area system. That's one thing I could do, or I could do the actual description and everything here inside the Voyager document. The thing is, for Figma, I have the free plan, so I'm very limited on how many pages I can create. So you can see here, well, maybe it's too small for the actual screen size, but here it says 2 free pages left. So that means I can only create 2 more pages and that's it. And yeah, like this is practically, like, this is almost infinite, like this canvas. So I could do everything in this same document, I think. But the thing is, of course, is if the document, like if a single page contains a lot of things, it's going to be really heavy for loading. So I don't know. I don't know what I should do. Well, also, this is what we have been doing in the previous stream, which is really good because that's for, like, describing how each section of the game works and what there is in each of the sections. So we're going to go through this. I think we already did this, but I kept adding some stuff after I finished the stream. So yeah. So those sorry. So those 3 are basically the 3 main sections of the game, okay? And I'm going to explain what this means, what each section is and what there is in each of the sections. So, constellation. This is the world map, okay? And here I want to correct this because this is the equivalent to the world map. To world map, I should say, okay? So, constellation. This is the equivalent to world map. Each star is a level map, with each planet being a new level, okay? This is conceptually how I think about the constellations. Now, you're always inside a constellation, whether you're in space, that means you're in the planetary system scene, or whether you're in a planet, that means you're in the planetary in the planet scene, okay? So you're always going to be inside a constellation, okay? Then you can navigate between stars in the constellation, but only through the routes. That means connections between them, okay? So those lines that represent the actual shape of the constellation, those are actual navigation routes, okay? Connections. The connections between the stars are routes that you can use to go to another star, okay? And that also, they define the actual like where you can go, okay? So if you're in this star here, you can see that this star is connected to this one, and also to this one, but there's no way for you to go directly from here to that one. Okay, that's basically the idea. Then to go to a new constellation, you need to find all the coordinate fragments to get the actual coordinates. Okay, I'm noticing that some text was being cropped there, so that's better. Okay, perfect. That's basically what defines a constellation, okay, conceptually. And I think it's really good to describe everything here because yeah, it's a pretty big project. Okay, there's a lot of things involved, and I think it's good to have this to have it this way. Now the next section of the game is the star, okay, the planetary systems. Okay, now this is the equivalent. The star / planetary system is the equivalent to a level map, sorry. So you can see, for example, here, this is the star, and you can see the different planets, and you can see each planet as being like a new level. Okay, so this is a star, and this star contains 4 planets, and each planet is a new level you can play. Okay, it's like conceptually how I think about it, but it's not like, okay, if you go to planet 1, you have to complete and go from point A to point B, and then you completed that planet and that's it. No. In reality, those planets are just places you can go and explore however you want. But you can think, like conceptually, you can think of a star as if it is like a level map, okay? Okay, so you're in your starship and you can explore and navigate space freely, okay? That's what we have been working on here in the actual planetary system scene, okay? So here, you have a planetary system map that tracks your position and also shows where each planet is, as well as other points of interest, okay? So, that being, for example, where points entrances to, so where points are entrances to star routes, okay, to go to a new star. So that's what we have been talking about in the previous stream, that you had like here in this scene you could see some kind of like a floating portal that is basically a connection to another star. So if you enter that portal, you go automatically to the next star. Although that's an idea, okay, because in reality what I want is for you to have to search, like I want you to do stuff before being able to just enter a portal and go into a new star, okay? So I don't want you to just go into space and then go into a portal and then there you go, like you're in a new star. I feel that maybe that's a bit cheap, and I want you to do some stuff in the star you're in, okay, in the planets, and then you can go to the new star. That's my idea. Okay, so back to the planetary system map. You can see there where points. You can also see asteroid clusters, which can also contain asteroids that are big enough to land on, okay? And also you can destroy them to get fuel, but that's described after this. So you can also see floating islands. Okay, you can also land on those floating islands. You can see space stations, service stations, nearby enemies when you're in combat, etc. Okay, so the idea is that the mini-map, the planetary system map, is going to show some stuff, but in like a really abstract way. So maybe, for example, here, let's say you see this, okay, the planetary system map, the idea is that, for example, you're going to see just dots, okay, green dots, and those are points of interest. That's it, okay? So then you go there and you discover, oh, look at this, this is an asteroid cluster, and you can destroy the asteroids and get fuel and stuff. Then you go here, okay? You don't know what it is until you get there, and maybe when you get there, it's, for example, floating island, and you can land there and you can find some stuff there. I don't know. That's my idea. The planetary system map is not going to describe exactly what you're seeing. It's just going to mark positions of points of interest, okay? So that you can go there and explore and see what's there, okay? So I think that's cool. So you can activate hyperspeed on your starship, but that requires fuel, okay? So how do you obtain fuel? You can destroy space rocks or asteroids and get tiny bits of fuel from them, okay? Destroying rocks and asteroids is not the main source of fuel, okay? That's basically, you can get tiny bits of fuel to move around, but it's not going to it's not going to be a really good source of fuel. But then in-space service station can fully charge your starship fuel, okay? So what I'm trying to do, so this is what I want, okay? You can find in space, you can find this, which is like a service station. I don't know if that's how it's called in English, but in Spanish it's like the literal translation is service station, where you can charge, like, fuel up your car and stuff. But basically that's it. I want this kind of things to be in space, and you can go there and you can basically fuel your starship, and those stations are going to fuel your starship to the max, okay? You can fuel, what's the expression I'm looking for? Anyways, whatever. You go there and you get max fuel, okay? That's it. So those are the two ways of fueling your starship. Okay, then to land on a planet, you need to get close to its orbit and then hold a button to start the landing sequence, okay? That's what we have been talking about for the past 30 minutes. And also for other places that you can land on, the logic is the same. You need to be near enough and then hold a button to land, okay? So, like I said here, for example, I was explaining, I don't know, before at some point, this is like what you see, this is the camera, and this is you exploring space, okay? You can navigate around whatever you want, and let's say you find this is like a floating island, okay? And my idea is that you can find this and land on this and find stuff there, maybe some loot, or maybe NPCs or enemies even, I don't know. You can find stuff here. So in order to land here, you have to get close to this thing and do the same thing you do to land on planets, okay? That's the idea. Okay, and lastly, when you go too far away from the star, okay, so that means generally, what the hell? So generally, you're going to be navigating like on this space, okay? So how can I show this in a better way? I think here. Yeah. So yeah, this is good. So this is your starship, okay? This thing I'm grabbing here. Okay, I'm not even grabbing it because Now I'm grabbing it. Okay. This is your starship, okay? And the idea is that you can navigate here freely, okay? Whatever, inside this space. And you can go like out of the bounds because there's not a limit. There's not like an invisible wall that stops you. You can go infinitely in whatever direction you want to, okay? But the thing is, like, that's pointless. There's no point doing that because there's nothing outside of this space. You have planets and things here, but like outside of this bounds, there's nothing, okay? So my idea for preventing the player to from going outside of the bounds is to basically spawn a lot of enemies, okay? I think that's something they do in Half-Life 2, for example. I don't know if you ever played Half-Life 2, but basically there's some stages where you are in like some kind of car. You're driving in a coast, and there's you have the road, but like to the side you have like a lot of water, okay? It's like an ocean, and you can like get out of the car and then just walk and jump into the water and start swimming away, and there's no limit. There's not like a wall that stops you from going further, but basically you will die because there's a lot of like water things that start like hitting you and eating you and you start losing health and you die. So you cannot go infinitely away to the water. So I want to do like conceptually the same thing, so that if you go, for example, you go outside of this bound, then a lot of enemies start appearing and then start attacking you and everywhere, and then you basically die, okay? So that's my idea for preventing the player from going like outside of this space. Okay, so that's the basic stuff I have for the planetary system. Okay, the basic description of the things you can do and what's there, and okay. And then I was writing some stuff for the planet section, okay? So, planets, this is the main section of the game. You play as the astronaut and can explore the planet on foot or with different vehicles, okay? There's going to be some kind of terrestrial vehicles. Well, maybe not terrestrial, but you know those kind of like hovering bikes? I don't know, there's a couple vehicles like that in Halo that you can like, they go like not on land, but they are like floating like a little bit like this. You know, like the it's called hoverboard in Back to the Future. I think it's Back to the Future 2, where, you know, Marty finds the hoverboard and it's floating basically. So I want to do stuff like that, so that, because the terrain is not going to be even, of course, and I'm not using what's that called? Oh man, I can't find the name of that thing. Slopes, okay. Oh my god, my brain just stopped working there. So I'm not doing slopes, okay? So that's basically the angled thing in the ground. So I don't know why I'm doing this with my hand, because I can basically explain this with drawing. So the terrain in planets is kind of like this, okay? It's like that. It's not like that. Which could be nice to do this. It would be nice, but it's really difficult to basically adapt everything to this. Like, adapting everything to this kind of terrain is really a lot of work, and it's not even worth it, because I don't know how much gameplay value does this add, okay, in relation, like in comparison to this. I think maybe this is like too, I don't know, I can't even explain the difference like in gameplay, in actual gameplay. So maybe you can say that here, for example, let's say your character is here. If you press right, you can go here, 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 but here you're going to get stuck here because there's like this thing and there's not like stairs, okay? This is like a thing you have to jump. And if your character is here and you press right, you can navigate this and you're not going to be stopped by any like wall or anything, okay? So that's the only thing I see, but is that like worth it? Task 73, implement stair. Yeah, you know what? The thing is that stairs are basically this. So let's say I want to create stairs so that, for example, this is like this, okay? This, in reality, what's happening is that this is a collider that's with an angle, okay? This is like a slope, basically. Like behind the scenes, this could be a sprite, okay? But behind the scenes, it's literally this. It's a slope so that it doesn't feel like this when you're going through the stair. Like, imagine I use like the actual collision. Imagine the actual collision is like this. Wait, I'm just screwing everything up. Imagine the actual collision is like this, and maybe the player like is a lot bigger, okay, so that it's so weird. What would happen if I try to go up? It's going to do this, okay? Instead of going smoothly, it's going to do like this if the actual collision looks like this. So behind the scenes, the sprite, the actual visual thing is going to look like a stair, but behind the scenes, the collider, like the collision, is going to be a slope so that it feels smooth to go up the stair. So adding actual stairs is basically doing slopes, so it's not even worth it. So that's what I'm trying to explain here. Whatever, I'm just going to continue. So yeah, I was trying to explain. Oh yeah, it's easier to explain this with this drawing. So for on-planet vehicles, I don't know if I want the player to actually use the starship here. Let's draw like a little starship. So yeah, I don't know if I want you to be able to use the starship in the planet. I don't know, because the starship is supposed to be really fast, and that means that I have to be loading all of the chunks really fast. If you move faster, I need to load like the next chunk faster. Okay, fast. I have to load all of the chunks and unload the previous chunks really fast. And for performance, like, I should be thinking about optimization and all of the crap that's, I don't know, it's not something I want to do. So instead, well, maybe, I don't know, we'll see. We will see if that's viable, like using the actual starship in the planet to get to point A to point B faster. I don't know, I think it's not going to be worth it, the amount of work. So that's why I thought about creating actual like planetary vehicles, okay? And that means that, for example, you can have some kind of like hovering bike, for example, okay? So imagine this, you have like this kind of bike where the actual player is like this. Okay. So my idea is that we have this kind of vehicle on planet, and this is not a bike that goes like this on the ground. It's going to float, okay? So you can go up and down and it's hovering, okay? So that's the kind of vehicle I want to implement. And I was explaining this of the slope because, of course, if we had slopes in the game, we could use terrestrial vehicles with actual wheels, and that this wouldn't look that weird, and this would be fun to do. But I don't know how much fun and how worth it would be to do that. So I think having hovering vehicles is going to be as equal as fun, and I think it's cooler also, and it's easier to implement. So yeah, so that's why that's what I was thinking for terrestrial, not terrestrial, but on-planet vehicles. Okay, so I deviated a lot from this point, but we're going to keep explaining what I added here. Okay. So this is another key aspect of the planets. Okay, so planets have a domination level, okay, that goes from 0 to 100. Okay, so that means how dominated the planet is by the Vectorialis. Okay, so you need to destroy every Vectorialis enemy in base or fortress to reduce the domination level. Okay, so once, like, every time you defeat an enemy like in that planet, the domination level is going to be reduced, okay, to decrease. So once it reaches 0, it means the planet is completely liberated. Okay, also, planets with domination level higher than 80 will have a big fortress that leads to an underground base where a boss is hiding. Okay, so this is a really important thing, because those planets, like when you defeat a boss, you're going to get important items or things, okay, that you need to progress in the game. Okay, so you can find observatories or telescopes that you can use to stargaze. This is a mini game that lets you find new constellations, okay, and analyze them to extract a coordinate fragment. Okay, that's another idea, and this is also really key to the core mechanic, so that you can go to a new constellation. This is the only way you can go to a new constellation. You can also find NPCs, neutral beings that can give you quests or simply talk to you. Okay, and lastly, this is the last thing I wrote, but this is going to be a list that gets bigger as I think of new things. But basically, there are camps, villages, and sometimes cities. Okay, so you can find like some civilizations there in some planets. So yeah, that's something I would like to have. I don't know if that's going to be like cities. Sounds like something like really big cities in the planet. It's going to be hard to do, I think. But yeah, I would at least like to have some kind of civilization level. So for example, you can go to a planet and you can find like some houses and villages, and I don't know, and some NPCs that are living there, and I don't know. I think it sounds like a good idea, like something interesting that you would like to explore, for example, or find. So if you're exploring planets, I think it's something you expect to find. in a planet. So yeah, okay. Those are basically the descriptions of like the most core stuff of the planets. Are there a way to list all the NPC and where they are? Like, are you talking about in gameplay terms? So like you as the player go and find NPCs and have some kind of, like, I don't know, some kind of menu where you can see NPCs and like the NPCs you found and their names and stuff like that, or in game terms? I don't know, we could do that. I mean, it's going to be interesting to do that, because otherwise it will be pointless to have NPCs if you can not do anything with them. So yeah, I think we could do some kind of like registry of NPCs you have met. Okay, so you have a list of NPCs you have met, and you can see their name and their stats, or like maybe their race, if we have races. I don't know if I will have races, but yeah, their planet, of course, the planet that they are in, you can see some information about them. So yeah, I think also it's going to be relevant for quests. So let's say you find, like, you meet an NPC and that NPC gives you a quest. Of course, you can see that, like, a list of NPCs, and if you enter, like, for example, one NPC to see the description, you can see that they gave you some kind of quest, and if you have that quest in progress, or if you completed it, so then you can see their location, and then you can go back to where that NPC is to complete the quest, for example. That's a cool thing. Now, there's something I was thinking about when it comes to actual communication between you and NPCs. And like, so I was thinking, for example, let's say you find an NPC here, for example. Okay, so you have, this is you, okay, and you find an NPC. Okay, let's set a name to, like, a different color to the NPC. So let's say you found an NPC. Okay, when you interact with the NPC, you're going to have, like, let's say you have something like this, like an exclamation sign, or maybe like a globe like this, so you know that you can talk to the NPC, and then you press the button. I was thinking about that I don't want to have a dialogue system. So a dialogue system could be, for example, just a globe here that contains the text. Okay, so what he's saying. Okay, and then you can say something to him, and then he says something back. I don't know. So, you know, the typical dialogue system. Now, that's one way of doing this, but also you can have, like, let's say this is the actual screen. You can have the typical, like, thing here where you can see the actual face of the NPC. Okay, so pretend this is a good drawing of an NPC. Okay, and you can see the actual text here, and you have the little thing here to go next. So this is another way of doing a dialogue, but I don't want to do this. I want to do something simpler and new, like something different. Okay, and I was thinking about doing something like I don't have like a really constructed idea of this, but I do have something that I'm thinking about. I want to explore the idea and see what I come up with. But basically, I was thinking about something like this, okay? Imagine this is you, okay? And I want the astronaut to have some kind of scanner, okay? So imagine you have like a plant here, okay? And you can use your scanner to actually scan the plant, okay? So imagine the actual, like the typical thing where you can scan something, okay? And you scan that plant and you can get some information about the plant, so maybe the name, okay? And I don't know, whatever. So I was thinking about using that same concept, but for actually talking to NPCs. So let's say the NPC throws some particles, okay? Some, I don't know, maybe bubbles, for example. And you have to analyze the actual bubbles, okay? You have to use your scanner to analyze the bubbles, okay? So you scan the bubbles and then you get like, I don't know, something. So I was thinking about something like this. So like, I don't want to, the thing is, I want to avoid adding so much text to the game, okay? I don't want the game to have a lot of text here and there and dialogues and I don't know. But we need gameplay mechanics attached to it. Yeah, of course. So like I said before, the scanner is also going to be used to scan plants, for example. You could scan plants, you can scan like trees, for example. So imagine you have your tree here, you can scan the tree, for example, to get some information about the tree. So yeah, I was thinking about something like this, and that scanner mechanic is going to be also used to talk to NPCs so that you know what they're saying, because it also is going to feel immersive in the sense that all of the beings in the universe, that like there's no language. Basically, they you have to translate what they are saying, and you do that using your scanner, and you scan like there's a different way of communication. Okay, that's what I'm trying to imply here. So instead of talking, okay, instead of talking and having like a bubble of dialogue, instead of that, which is the typical thing, some NPCs throw bubbles in the air and you have to scan the bubbles to know what they are saying. And the things that NPCs can say to you are going to be like translated into really simple and basic concepts. So like, for example, if you scan this, like this is something I'm thinking about right now, but this is conceptually what I'm trying to do, something really simple with this. So for example, you can scan this and get like, I don't know, a symbol, for example, like a triangle, or for example, a red triangle. If you get a red triangle, it means something, for example, that enemies are near or something like that. Or if you get like a, I don't know, a yellow square, that means that there's fuel close nearby. And for example, if you get like a green circle, it means that there's some life sources nearby, or maybe plant life. So I don't know, this is just a really weird idea, but I think if I manage to create a really good concept around this could be really interesting, because it's not going to be your typical dialogue system that you see in every game, that you go to an NPC and then a text bubble appears, and then the NPC says something like hello. Like, this is the typical things. I don't think I want to do this, because this means that I have to create a procedural system for conversations. Otherwise, it's going to be really repetitive if all the NPCs say the same phrase over and over, because I can have like a big list of phrases that NPCs can say, but then there's the question of, okay, but should you be able to answer that or ask questions? And depending on that, I should have like a list of things you can say, and depending on all of those things you can say, you can have different outcomes of other responses from the NPCs. So you can see how complex it can get really, really easily. So instead of this, which sounds really hard to do for just one guy that works, I don't know, 8 hours a week on this game, instead of doing this, and I also don't feel this is interesting. It's not interesting to me. I don't want to do a dialogue system that you can talk to NPCs and see what they say. I want to do something more, like a lot more abstract with this, so that NPCs communicate with you, okay? That communicate in their specific way. So like maybe some NPCs, like I said, maybe some NPCs can create bubbles, okay? You can see bubbles from them, and those bubbles are saying something, and you have to scan and like synthesize the bubbles to know what they are trying to say. And maybe the message is just something simple like an indication of there's I don't know, there's enemies nearby, or you can fill up your starship here. But instead of adding text to that, so like let's say we scan this and then we translate it and then it's text. I don't want that. I also don't want that. I want the translation to be a symbol or something that that means a basic concept or something like that. So the bubbles could be translated to, like I said, for example, a green square, and green square means there's plants nearby, so that you can go and scan those plants and blah blah blah. So in other words, basically NPCs could help you find stuff on planets, okay? So that's one thing of communication I could do, okay? So yeah, I think that's something we could do, and I think it's a really interesting thing to explore, because it's pretty unique. I don't think I have seen something like this in other games. I don't know, I didn't really play a lot of games in my life, but I don't know. This seems pretty unique, and it's this means that I can create like a system that's not that complicated, and it can be interesting and fun to play, okay? So yeah. Anyways, that was what I'm thinking about NPCs. And I don't know what was the main thread of my explanation, but yeah, basically I think it was because of the question you asked about having a list of NPCs and stuff like that. So yeah, maybe NPCs can give you quests, so you scan their communication particles, and then some kind of symbol means that they have a quest for you, and then the only thing you see is just an icon of what they are asking for. So maybe they ask for a certain item that you have to go and search in the planet and then go and give it to them. Okay, I don't know, just ideas I have for this. But in any case, I have to go now. So this is the stream for today. We didn't get to do actual work on the project, but I think it's good to be like talking about all of these things, because it's basically what we did is just planets, not planets. Sorry, it's just planning. So we have been doing some planning on today's stream. It's not the most interesting thing, maybe, but yeah, it was a design night. Exactly. Oh, I didn't see your message. I am now questioning what random NPC can add. Yeah, so well, that's basically what I just was describing. So maybe NPCs can help you find stuff in planets. I think that's a pretty good mechanic for NPCs. So yeah. So that's going to be the stream for today, okay? It was a lot of design talking and planning and stuff. So we already have our next step, okay? And I think I'm going to start working on that tomorrow. I'm pretty sure I'm going to stream tomorrow. I don't want to confirm 100%, but yeah, it's I would say 97% possible. I'm 97% sure that I'm going to stream tomorrow, okay? And maybe I stream for a couple more hours. See you tomorrow. 97.79%. That's a more precise number. That's good. So yeah. Okay, that's going to be the stream for today. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for chatting. Thank you, Ciala, for being here as always. Yeah, I don't know if I want to do a raid today. So maybe tomorrow. We'll see how it goes. But I think I really have to go, so I don't want to be raiding, because like. Usually the idea is to raid and stay a little bit there to chat to the user we raided, and I have to go and do some other stuff now. So yeah, maybe tomorrow we will maybe raid somebody. So for now, I'm just going to end the stream, and thank you all for being here and for watching from wherever you're watching. If you're watching live on Twitch, live on YouTube, or if you're watching the broadcast, the VOD on YouTube, okay? Thank you very much. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're watching from there, and also don't forget to join the Discord, okay? If you want to get notifications when I go live, I always notify the users on the Discord server. And you can also share your thing there if you're doing art, pixel art, or games, or music, or anything. If you're playing games, if you're, I don't know, eating something really tasty and you want to share it there, you can do whatever you want, okay? Well, be respectful, of course, right? But yeah, other than that, that's going to be the stream for today. Thank you very much, and I see you in the next one, okay? Bye bye.